Hello and welcome to Martini's Eco and Country Bites. We have a bit of a special event. Notification is probably more what this is. This is a call out to Western Australia and our community all through the wheat belt. Those farmers that are doing it hard, God knows, I know how bad this has been for you. My family and the people I love are all in those communities, and certainly it has a flow-on effect all throughout our state and this beautiful nation. Tonight, we are putting a call out because I have been contacted by numerous people about some of these events that are happening. And this wonderful lady that I'm about to introduce is someone who's very concerned about those communities that haven't been consulted, their concerns addressed, and that there's a community meeting happening this week, and we're putting a call out to all of those that can attend to get there, ask the hard questions and get the facts. I'd like to introduce my guest this evening, Alison Johnson. Hello, Alison. How are you this evening?
I'm good.
Welcome to Martini's Eco and Country Bites on Edge Radio.
Thank you for having me.
My absolute pleasure. Alison, I have been contacted by a few people, and when we've had some conversations about this is just the ongoing steamrolling of communities that I have seen. Obviously, I'm the campaign coordinator for Save Our Beloved Geograph Bay, where there has been absolutely zero consultation with stakeholders, community members, industries there, and certainly the impacts that's going to have, and the environment, which is absolutely devastating. Alison, would you like to introduce what your concerns are? Because you're from Narrogin, and I think it's best that people hear direct from community members what's happening in your town, and what our call out is tonight to invite people to come and join you this Wednesday.
Thanks, Martine. Yes, so I grew up here in Narrogin and then moved away, and we recently came back about 3 years ago to buy our little lifestyle patch and raise our kids with, the sense of how, country community feeling and peace and quiet. Our place is so quiet at the moment, and we have the most amazing view of the stars, and we raise animals and all the things that you do in the country. And our concern is that way of life is about to be absolutely decimated through no choice of our own. And we're particularly concerned with the project to the east of Narrogin, but there are projects all around us pretty much from every direction. And the one to the west of Narrogin has already been approved by the state policy makers. No community consultation has been happening. Some of the landholders, like the neighbouring landholders east area, only were contacted by Lighthouse BP this year, and yet we know that prospective hosts have been talking to them for almost 3 years. So, if it's so wonderful, why is it so secret?
So these renewable projects, this is on land-based wind turbines, or is it solar arrays, or both?
We have both. We have all happening here. So we have the Narrogin East project will have wind turbines, solar and battery storage, because through the area that we're talking about is the transmission lines that run from Collie to Kalgoorlie, run straight through our area. Yep, so that green line that you see, that's the transmission line. All those circles that you see there, they are houses. And you can see right in the middle there is what we think will be the location for the wind farm. But that's kind of speculation because, again, we're not getting any real or accurate information. But, we know in our community who owns what patch of dirt, and we know who's talking to who. And those turbines are going to be smack bang in the middle of all those circles that you see there. And there won't be an allowance for decent setbacks. And from our research, there really is no safe setback area that we can determine at this point anyway. So
no, that's something we've discussed at length on my segment alone, let alone all that I hear from communities, that there is all the infrasound, the vibration in the soil, and how it causes all those decomposes, worms, all of those insects and burying animals die and they leave the area.
Yep.
We
and
have
the wheat belt, our ecosystem's pretty fragile. We have cold, freezing winter here. We have several frosts. This year's been, a high frost year. And then our summers are 40, 45. So the ecosystem that you have and that life underground is quite fragile already.
very.
And then we do have amazing bird life out here, ranging from our property alone. We had a flock of native budgies this year. And
oh, wow. Protected.
I worry with turbines to our northeast and then turbines to our south. Those budgies are going to be decimated. I don't know whether we'll ever see them again. We have eagles, we have cockatoos, we have corellas, we have so many different bird life species. There's bats, there's possums, there's marsupials that are extremely rare. And then there's even rare reptiles around the Yilluminning. Several patches of reserves because there's native flora and fauna, and we worry about the impact of all of that with the infrastructure changing, the roads, the dust. There's just so many unknowns.
It's a cumulative effects. The thing is that this is where the precautionary principle got thrown out the window. That's why they didn't want any stakeholder consultation, because when people start to scratch the surface, there were so many aspects that were beyond their control or lack of mitigation or ways to mitigate what the damage is. EMF is another one people need to go and do their research about. The amount of EMF that's emitted by these wind turbines. Children, I can tell you now, children are at risk of developing leukemia. Do your research. It's been proven.
That will be living within 5 kilometres of these things, and young families, they're already distraught. With several members of our collective with very, very young families and new babies coming. And
this makes me mad.
This used to be the most amazing place to raise children, and now there's deep concerns for, are our children going to have a healthy future?
So just to put it in perspective, the EMF, there was a case in Italy where the Vatican was prosecuted, and it was proven that the EMF from their radio towers had caused leukemia and the death of 8 children. So I want people out there that love their community, that love their children, to seriously go do your research. Do not allow your communities to be steamrolled, because there is no going back once this happens.
Yeah. And
I've got to put that in, because it's just so serious.
Absolutely. And these are the questions we've put to our Shire already, Martine. We've been to the Shire, and I personally put the hard word on them, and I said, what research have you done? What studies have you done? And the Shire have done nothing, because they say it's not their responsibility, it's the state's responsibility, and the proposed
rubbish
coming to do this. And I said, but how can we expected to trust any kind of information coming from people who have a financial gain in this? And then
they're fully invested.
People start to talk about finances and remuneration. It's like that you cannot buy your health back, and you cannot buy.
How do you replace your child?
People have put their blood, sweat, and tears into building a home and a family and a lifestyle, and committing to raising their children in this small community. Now, I grew up here in the 90s, and I'll tell you what, our community shrunk so much so.
Let's talk about these proponents. These are the proponents that we think that we can trust their information and data after the fact. So they've been in communication privately, behind the scenes, in secret squirrel. Was there any NDAs? Did any of these people have to sign NDAs that they wouldn't talk to their neighbours? Any of that happening? Was there?
We're not sure. There's perhaps because of that, but we don't know. We already have community people not talking to each other, people not making eye contact. We know. So
dividing the community. Yeah, great. That's fabulous. Thanks very much, foreign corporations. That's just what we need here in Australia more of. After the last 4 or 5 years of absolute decimating our communities, decimating our health, causing such division that we're just starting to heal from, and now this is coming along right smack in the middle of when we're trying to put businesses back on track, families back on track, and this is happening. Would you like to read out some of those names if you've got them in front of you there, Alison, and people can jog them down, screenshot it? Yep.
The neon one is the project to the west of us. That one has apparently just got the go-ahead. I do know, though, that it did get heavily downscaled. They didn't get nearly as many turbines approved as they originally wanted. So whether that will make it viable, we're unsure. The one that we are dealing with, I don't know that the Narrogin biodiesel plant is ever going to get off the ground. We had a similar project years ago that sort of fizzled. The Narrogin East Wind and Solar and BESS, that's through Light Source BP. That's the one that we're most concerned with currently. Can
we just take a pause there? You're saying BP as in BP Petroleum, yes?
I believe they are, it's like
they're a division. So this is what people need to understand. The dis and misinformation that's being spread by those on the payroll from extremist lefties and groups that are proponents for this. The argument will be that this is oil and gas people that are fighting against, renewables because they want to keep oil and gas in play. Well, that's an absolute bold-faced lie. So if anyone starts that divisive conversational language, you shut them down and say Equinor, which is one of the biggest oil and gas companies in the world, are the biggest proponents for offshore wind. We also have BP. There's a number of these that are both feet on both sides of the fence. So don't ever engage in that. Shut it down and say that's lies. You need to go check your facts, because that is one of the most divisive conversations that you see people have online. Anytime you try to put the facts out there, Alison, I can warn everyone, the trolls are well and live.
Oh yeah, we have a troll on our local Facebook page who we're pretty sure works for one of these companies. He doesn't even live here. We don't know on our local page. And he pops his head up every time. And, country people are not backward in coming forward, so he doesn't really get much traction. But what concerns me, when I went to the Light Source BP website, they've never built a wind farm before. Never.
Nope.
They've built solar projects. And look, solar's fine. If you decide to turn your arable land, your food-producing land, into a solar farm, then go for it. That has no effect on your neighbours, right? That does not keep me awake at night. I'm not overly concerned with that. But when you decide to put an almost 300-metre wind turbine that's 10 times larger in power than the ones down in Albany, so if anyone says, oh, they've been in Albany for ages, they're fine. The Albany ones are only 0.6 of a megawatt. They're 100 metres tall. The ones we're looking at are 6.2 megawatts, and they're going to be just under 300 metres. That's a guesstimation because, again, they're not being very honest with us. But these things are going to impact every neighbour. So we potentially have 4 local families making a decision, a financial decision. They've told us it's purely financial. They're not greenies. They don't care about the renewable factor. It's
a financial
drought protection plan that they have in place. It's a business decision, and these 4 families are going to affect everyone.
What I will say is, just if we backtrack a minute, when you were talking about, I understand certainly that the wind turbines pose very different impact on the community than solar arrays, but for farmers, what you both need to understand is that both solar arrays, once that any hailstorms and any fragments come off those solar panels, your land's contaminated, just so people are aware. When they're contaminated, you will not be able to put your livestock back on there, allow them to feed on there and to continue with agriculture. That land by the government will be deemed unfit for agriculture. Just to preface that is the truth and the facts of it.
And the other major concern for us is fire. So our community in that exact area that's looking at these monstrosities going up was hit by fire. in 2022. And it was I was smack bang in the middle of it, and I can tell you it was horrific. Buildings were lost, homes were lost, livestock were lost. Half the state was on the fire at the time. Denmark was on fire. Over towards Bridgetown was on fire. Out towards Corrigin was on fire. So the Narrogin, we didn't even get aerial support until late in the afternoon. I'd already lost a building, a huge amount of possessions by the time Narrogin even got aerial support. But that aerial support saved more homes and potentially had the wind have turned the town. Now,
so the one thing that I'm going to put it straight here because we're going to be limited for time, because what we want is for this to be a very to the point conversation about what questions people need to ask. And the one thing, apart from who's liable for fire damage on your property, it will be the farmers, not the proponents. Check your insurance, that needs to be part of it. Decommissioning, who's going to be responsible to decommissioning? And farmers, I get you. I know the hell you've been through. I get it. I was in Bridgetown when those fires came through. I was in many communities when the devastation was happening. And all I can say is that we are here to support you and not let you go under. We're here to make sure that we are strong communities all across WA and Australia, because this government is more concerned about foreign corporations, their profits, than ensuring that we have food security, we have agriculture and communities that are strong. And if that's what the government's priority was, we would be seeing that, but it's not. And this is why asking who's going to be responsible for decommissioning, if it's left up to farmers, what will happen is in future generations, it's going to cost up to about $500,000 to decommission each wind turbine, and that will fall on the shoulders. And this statistics come from very well-sourced information, including senators, $500,000 per turbine. Do the math and work out who's going to be ahead. Are you going to have anything left in your pocket? Your children that you leave your land to, that land's now contaminated? So once it's decommissioned, what are you going to use it for? You need to ask these hard questions. And now.
And we've been told to stop banging on about that. It's covered, is what we've been told.
No, it's not. It's not covered. Put it in writing. Show me where it is in a contract. Show me the numbers and make this council absolutely. Your council is liable for this. Any damage that's happening in their community is on them. They cannot renege their duties here. They've been put on notice. Tell them that these are the hazards, especially EMF, that leukemia is rife in children that are coming into contact with high levels of EMF, which these wind turbines will be. My gosh, they're 5 kilometres and less from some houses. That's unacceptable.
Yeah.
Alison, would you like to finish up by inviting everyone to come and join you on Wednesday?
Yeah, please. So the Shire is hosting this meeting on Wednesday night, and the panel that they have feels very, very one-sided. So we are asking everyone to turn up to ask, like you say, ask the hard questions. Please submit the questions. You can find the event on Facebook under the Narrogin Shire. It will be held at the John Higgins Memorial, which is right near our sporting complex on Clayton Road in Narrogin. It starts at 6 p.m. A group of us will be meeting out the front from 5:30. We are asking anyone who is not wanting these to please wear white as a sign of solidarity and unison, to show that we are a united front and we will be heard even if we're not speaking. So please come and show. I know, and this is the other thing, Martine, we're in the middle of harvest. You know, they know that. They know that this is
not fair.
Everyone is in the middle of harvest, and that's not just the farmers. All the mechanics, all the tradies, all the wives, everyone doesn't have time for this week. They are busy. This is our busiest time of the year, and this is when they decide to have their community consultation. So we're saying to people, we know you're busy, but please take 2 hours to come in, because this is the next 30 years of our future that we're talking about. And this is going to divide and decimate our community. And those that say it's not, well, look, I can already see the headlines. You know, small community duped by renewables, now paying the cost That's
Yeah.
what's going to be the headline.
Oh, look, I think that would probably be the best headline, because unfortunately, I think the reality could be is that there are cluster health issues going on amongst children in the area, and that would be the thing that breaks my heart, because to see children put at risk, the way we treat our vulnerable or protect our vulnerable, and especially children and babies, we know that the science is already there. And all I can say is to the Shire of Narrogin, got my eyes on you. I'll be following up with this. I'm very, very sorry that I can't be there. I would be there to cover it. Hence why this is a call out on behalf of me, Edge Radio, and to all of those in the wheat belt that are under the same threats. Farmers, you need to get up there and you need to support these farmers and get in there and ask the same tough questions. If you don't ask now, you're not going to get the answers or put enough pressure on them to make them accountable for transparency and honesty.
Going to be able to stop these. Like we've spoken to several communities who haven't been able to stop them. If nobody gets up and over, then they're just going to steamroll each one community after another. So if you don't think it's you, they'll be coming for you next. Like seriously, you just don't know. Like I said, we had no idea until they were more than 2 years into the consultation that these things were coming. And when you ask that, they go, oh, well, we put it on our website. Who goes website hunting for these things? Like,
unacceptable.
Who does
not
that?
acceptable. Alison, I'm going to check in with you in a couple of days. Maybe over the weekend, we might touch base and see some of the events. If you can maybe shoot some footage or get some feedback from people, even if you can film people outside, and I will try and do a little segment on that best I can. Thank you so much for joining me tonight on Edge Radio Australia. I hope you get lots of people that turn up.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. Thank you for helping us spread our message.
We are united against this, Alison. Thank you. All I can say to our Edge Radio Australia community, to all of those beautiful people out there down in Narrogin and surrounding areas, please stand united for your agriculture, for your heritage, for your generational farming. I know how tough this has been, and all I can say is that united, we're going to win this. And if we allow the division to eat away at us and destroy our communities, then they will win, all for corporate greed, corporate profits. And we're not going to let that happen. Please go and attend this meeting. It's vital. Thank you for joining me on Edge Radio Australia.